This video is brought to you by Primochill and Phanteks. Check out their links in this video's description for your simple and complex PC building needs.
Anyone seen a white fitting? I put it somewhere on this board, but the Arctic camouflage is just too intense.
What's up everyone? I would like for you to meet potentially one of the whitest PC builds on YouTube. This is part one of likely 3, maybe 4, depending on if I include benchmarks in a part, but you get the idea here. So we're going to put together a very white PC. It's going to have pretty much everything sporting some sort of white accent, if not just the full-on white thing here. So this is all like, 24 pins completely white, Reservoir is completely white. We're going to use white fluid from Primochill. All of the custom loop gear you're going to see here, with the exception of the graphics card water block and the CPU block, will be from Primochill. So Primochill has really done us a solid here, sent us a ton of stuff to make this build possible. I'm going to go through in detail all of these parts here soon, but they have, the white reservoir, they have the white radiators, they even sent over white cables, and then on top of that we also have an MSI X299 Tomahawk Arctic motherboard. This one was just released. They did us a solid by sending this out as quickly as they did, so huge thanks to them as well. And as I mentioned earlier, Phanteks, this is their Glacier GTX 1080 Ti Founders Edition water block. This has Rgb integration built in, so we're going to install that block probably in this part, in part 1. We also have a Seasonic power supply, 80 plus gold. Seasonic is one of the most reputable brands around when it comes to power supplies, so they were very cool, sent us one of those over. This is pretty much it for what you haven't seen before. We've got a Trident Z RGB DDR4 kit. This is a 32 gig kit, 8 GB DIMMs, and so there's obviously 4 in here. And we're going to set the color preset to white. That's where it's going to stay, because obviously, yeah, wouldn't make much sense to go with anything else at this point. And lastly, the CPU that will go inside the X299 motherboard is going to be the i9-7900X. Why not? I already have a box opener. I don't need another one, so let's go ahead and throw it in here and make it as overkill as possible.
Bit by bit, creative imagination began with a new art form. Makes me feel I belong to something.
MSI nailed it with this board's looks. I haven't even tested this thing yet. I don't even know if it works, frankly. I'm sure it will. They've already run a few tests with this board back at their HQ. But this thing looks absolutely gorgeous. White PCB. As far as I'm aware, the only X299 white PCB on the market. And unlike other white PCB competitors, this one doesn't have any of those weird, ugly tan accents or anything. It's all white or some shade of white. And it's going to look so good when paired with all of this from Primochill. Here's a close-up of one of these killer Primochill G-quarter fittings. You can get these in pretty much any color you want on their website. It's linked in the description if you want to check things out, order stuff for your next custom PC build. You can get them in virtually any color. You can have them paint your fittings, pretty much all of them. Your radiators, which is a new thing. It's also super cool. Of course, I went with white in this case, but you can go with blue, black, whatever, red. And you can even get your reservoir accents painted, and you can design some custom cables for your build as well. Again, all on their website, which is really cool. They're pretty much unifying the entire custom build experience. So the plan for this build, we're going to use a 240mm reservoir with the D5 pump attached below. This is going to stand upright in our Phanteks P400S. We're going to have a 360mm radiator up front and a small 120 at the rear. Now the last few pieces I want to show you before we actually begin building are from Phanteks. They sent over the P400S Tempered Glass Edition. This is the white version. I reviewed it in a card right here. They also have a white special edition, which has a white basement and white accents, but it's actually got a black outside coating, so I didn't go for that one because I wanted a white case. And we'll have black accents apart from just the basement and whatnot anyway, so the rad fins are black. So it's going to be okay. It'll be a white and black thing, but mostly white. Now, the other two things that they sent that are super cool, and I'm glad that these are available now, this is their CPU water block with Rgb integration. This is a beautiful looking block. I cannot wait to put this thing on and just see how it fits with the rest of the build. And then the 1080 Ti block follows suit in design. This one is also gorgeous. Check that out. Look how good that looks. I can't get over just the clean aesthetic here. Phanteks has done an excellent job with this just design overall. It does not come with a back plate, which is a bit disappointing, I will admit, but I have a few extra ones lying around, good for reference cards. And this also has RGB support, so white LEDs in here, and also white LEDs in the CPU block. So we've got quite a bit of work to do. I expect this to be an 8-hour day, 3 or 4 day project. Hopefully it pays off aesthetically though. I think this will be one of my cleanest builds to date, and I'm gonna love the white color scheme. Once everything is in here, the white with the black contrast should look pretty dope. Got everything kind of scattered all over the place. There's more stuff in the hallway outside of this room. Let's get to building. Okay, deep sigh of relief. This is day 2 of the build process. This is where I'm at after the second day, and this is where I'm going to call it quits for part 1. If you're wondering where the backplate is, don't worry. I have one in the works. The one that I had planned to use didn't fit with the Phanteks block as is, so I'm doing a few things to get that to work out, because it does look stupid to have like a black PCB board and a white PCB board behind it. So I'll get that taken care of, don't worry. I do want to say one thing about these fittings. These are by far the best I've ever used, period. So bravo, Primochill, you guys nailed it. They're super easy to use, super easy to secure to tubing, and the color is phenomenal. Again, you can choose any color you want practically for these fittings here, along with most of the gear that you see in this case. Now, one thing I want to say about the reservoir. It's a bit tricky because the pump, the D5 pump, is actually attached down below. And the way that it's set up is, I originally thought we had to have the out port coming from this one here, but it's actually on the back side just because of the nature of which way the pump spins. So fluid's actually be coming out the back. I have a cap on the back side, so I have to put this fitting back there and then cap the front, and that's going to suck because then I have to have a tube coming up and around and either to the graphics cards or to the radiator up top or something, and it has to be oriented this way because the reservoir has to mount to the radiator. So it's kind of, in my opinion, a poor design by the way that this is set up here. Maybe it's just supposed to be oriented, I don't know, horizontally or something, but vertically, at least on this side of the case, it's not ideal for an outtake, if you will, from the back side of the case. So that will be a bit tricky. That's okay though, we'll get through it. I also have a 120 in the back. We'll figure out what the heck we're going to do here. I want to have both of the tubes kind of
move this way, and that's because there's a bunch of empty space down here. I'm usually used to putting, you know, a graphics card down here as well, so it kind of fills in the gaps. And that's the point of having a custom loop, right? You want to fill in the empty space in the PC. So to tackle that issue with the problem of only having one 1080 Ti, which I'm not complaining, but it's just the space down here, I'm going to take advantage of by just running piping down here. So that's going to be the way that I remedy that. And then I guess from the CPU, maybe from here to, I don't know, maybe here to here, have this one come down, across, up, I don't know what it's, maybe just stretch all the way across and connect both radiators directly. No clue yet. We're going to figure all that out in part 2. Along with the backplate issue, we'll start wiring everything up, and we'll also install the power supply in part 2 as well. Maybe bend some tubing, and maybe even add some fluid in part 2. I'm not sure. And then part 3, I guess we can call the benchmarking part. But I don't know. I'm not going to say definitely what's going to happen in parts 2 and 3, because I don't know if we're going to run into issues at this point. This is my first time working with this configuration, so it'll be interesting to see how things work out. With that, I hope you enjoyed part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. This is Science Studio. Thanks for building with us.